Swaggy made this.
Hey guys, it's Base Kato, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing / sharing my experience of how it's like living in Atlanta and kind of what to expect on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to hear my experience and what to expect, then please keep on watching. Also make sure to like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it. So let me give you guys some backstory of why I even moved to Atlanta in the first place. So originally I lived 2 hours away from Atlanta, like born and raised 2 hours away from Atlanta. But growing up, I did have family that lived in Atlanta, and every time we would go, we would only go to my family's house. So I never actually seen Atlanta, seen the city, seen like what it had to offer, and like experienced everything. Like of course, on school field trips, we would go to like World of Coca-Cola and the Georgia Aquarium, but that's nothing. Fast forward to college, I originally went to Auburn University. But I switched majors. Auburn didn't really have the economics program that I was looking for. And I remember at the time, my aunt, she lived in Atlanta, and she still does, and she was telling my mom and I how she really wanted me to move to Atlanta to go to Georgia State. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, like I was not interested in moving to Atlanta at all, nor going to Georgia State. But I ended up looking into the college, looking at what programs they had to offer, and I actually fell in love with Georgia State. So I applied for Georgia State, I got accepted, and I moved to Atlanta literally New Year's Day of 2018. So January 1st, 2018. So now that I've given you guys some backstory about why I even moved to Atlanta, I'm gonna go over some of the things, like a few things to expect when moving to Atlanta, or just things that you'll experience while living in Atlanta. So the first thing I want to point out is there's more parts to Atlanta than people from the outside realize. Like you think coming in it's just downtown, midtown, and Buckhead, but there's actually a lot of like smaller like subdivisions and this, that, and the third. Like I know there's Sandy Springs, Alpharetta, Marietta. When you're looking up apartments online, honestly the best way to look up apartments in Atlanta is to actually go to these areas and just actually go in person to see these apartments, because half the time most of these apartments aren't listed online. They're really hard to find, or the apartments don't really list like the right information, at least in my experience. And let me give you some backstory on that. So when I moved to Atlanta, I was going to Georgia State, so I wanted an apartment really close to campus, like to where I could walk to my classes. And I did get an apartment there, but let me tell you that story. So we went into the apartment leasing office. It was me and my parents, and we met the leasing office people. They're really nice, and they're talking about prices, this, that, and third, and amenities. And we're like, okay, like that's fine, like let's check out the rooms, right? And we thought that the leasing office person was showing me the apartment room that I was gonna get, right? No, she showed me like just a random room that this apartment complex had to offer. It wasn't even like the model room, it was just a random room, right? But at the end of the day, I was staying in a different style room. Mind you, this apartment complex, I don't know why, but they had like 64 different style rooms. And this apartment complex was not like that big for them to have 64 different style rooms. We got bamboozled because we thought that that was going to be my exact apartment that she showed me. So we signed the lease and everything. And we signed the lease back in October, but then I moved in pretty much in January. Well, when we moved in, it was a completely different apartment, like style and everything. It wasn't even in the same building, because there were like 3 different buildings at this apartment complex, and I was in like the 3rd building. I feel like it was a ratchet building, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, so I was bamboozled pretty much. So definitely if I were you, I would actually go to the apartments, see them in person. They got me on that one. They definitely got me on that one. Also with apartments, the pricing is like, I thought it was insane, but I guess now it's kind of normal everywhere. But coming from Auburn, okay, Auburn's campus, like the housing there, you can get an off-campus apartment for like maybe $400, $500, and it's like a big apartment, you know what I'm saying? Big, nice apartment. I particularly wanted to stay downtown my first 2 years just because I was finishing up college. Downtown, like I'll tell you now, it is so hard or nearly impossible to find like a decent apartment that's under $1,200. I wasn't asking for a lot with an apartment, but it's like, to me it seems like stainless steel should be standard, granite countertops should be standard, hardwood floors should be standard, at least in the kitchen and living room. Oh yeah, washer and dryer. I know some places you have to either pay like per month for your washer and dryer unit. What? Or you gotta watch out because some places they'll advertise that they have a washer and dryer available, but really it's a community washer and dryer. So beware of that. The best time to look for an apartment is definitely the beginning of the year, like December. Oh, I said beginning of the year and then December. Well, honestly, December and January, so end of the year and the beginning of the year are the best times to find an apartment because usually you can get a really good deal. Like I know the apartment that I got now, I got it a lot cheaper than what they're advertising for it now. Like now they're advertising this place for like $2,000 and I definitely do not pay $2,000 a month for this place. So just beware. The next thing that I've learned about living in Atlanta is if it sounds too good to be true, that means it is too good to be true. And let me give y'all a story. So when I first moved to Atlanta, I did not have a job. I remember one day, so GroupMe was pretty popular. I'm not sure if you guys know about the GroupMe app, but it's pretty popular amongst college campuses. It's a way for you to connect with other students for classwork, this, that, and the third, whatever. So this girl, she made an announcement on the Georgia State GroupMe talking about a job opportunity, this, that, and the third, and DM her. And I was like, okay, let me DM her and see like what she's talking about. So I DM'd her and I should have known it was a scam from the jump, but pretty much she worked for Primerica. If you don't know what Primerica is, you need to know. From what my experience with them was, you pretty much sell life insurance. But it's like they don't want to tell you that like when they're first telling you about the job, right? So she was telling me about how she makes her own hours, like she's her own boss. She makes $1,200 weekly. And $1,200 weekly to me at that time, since I was only 20, about to be 21, that was a lot of money. So I was like, oh, that sounds lit. Like $1,200, you know what I'm saying? Like that sounds lit, like let's go, like sign me up. So yeah, I fell into the trap.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
And I signed up for, so here's the thing, we had to make an account with Primerica, and then we had to go and take this pre-licensing class. It was like a week-long class course, live class, like we had to actually go to this place. And it was only about 10 people in that class total. It was a weird class. It was a variety of people. It was just a few young people. I was actually the second youngest person, and there's this other guy. He was like the youngest. Then after that, it was like middle-aged people, and then like a few old people. But like that was it. So it was a weird class. They taught us everything about life insurance, and honestly, it was funny because after the end of the class, we were supposed to sign up for the actual exam. But by the end of the week, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And to be honest, I don't even know why I even continued to attend that class that full week. Because I already kind of knew from the jump that I did not want to do that. Because after classes, So that girl, she added me to her Primerica team chat, team group or whatever. So we would have conference calls every day, and it was kind of weird because the people in the conference calls, like, they were trying to get me to recruit other friends to work for Primerica, and the more people you recruit, you would get like cash, pretty much. And if they recruit people, then you receive cash for their recruiters and this, that, and the third. So a pyramid scheme, but I didn't know what a pyramid scheme was at that time. So you need to be very careful. But yeah, they're begging for folks to join, and I kind of just, after that week of taking that life insurance class, I never signed up for the exam. I just dropped everything. I think I blocked people's numbers because I wasn't reaching out to them. So like, they were trying to reach out to me, and I'm just like, no, like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. We're not doing this. If it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And Atlanta is like the home of scammers, okay? So a lot of people are talking sweet nothings into your ear all the time. So you have to be careful. You have to have some type of discernment, you know, when it comes to what people are saying and everything, and what people have to offer. That's even with job boards. Indeed, I remember at one point I was looking for a job. A lot of people I don't know if it's people in the Atlanta area, but people will post fake job postings on Indeed targeted in the Atlanta area, and it would be about, I need an office assistant or an assistant, this, that, and the third. Pretty much any of those assistant jobs, most of those were scams. So let's talk about driving / the traffic in Atlanta. I know everyone talks about this, and I had to bring it up too because I have a story time about this as well. So driving in Atlanta, you need to be on your P's and Q's at all times, because, and I remember my parents, they would say it all the time, because I'd be like, why are you so worried about me, blah, 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 and they're like, it's not you, it's other people that we're worried about. And honestly, that is so true. Like, when driving in Atlanta, you need to worry about other people, because other people drive crazy here.
Go crazy, go stupid.
I actually got into a car accident literally the first 2 weeks of moving into Atlanta. I was on the way to a job interview for Ross, which I feel like that was a blessing in disguise, because I feel like I wouldn't have liked working in that Ross anyways. But I was on the way to a job interview, but I had to get gas. And the accident literally happened within walking distance of my apartment. Long story short, this car made a left-hand turn in front of me while I was going through the intersection, and so I T-boned them. Honestly, my car, when I got out my car, it wasn't that badly damaged at all, but the frame was slightly bent, so they just considered the car total. But yeah, you need to be careful regardless. Also, it's a lot of crazy drivers too. Atlanta people don't like when another car gets in front of them, regardless of if they have the space or not. I just see so many folks, like, lights, like red lights and stuff, intersection lights, like, people don't care about red lights and stuff at night. If a car isn't going through that light, they'll blow through it. Like, it doesn't matter. So you really need to be careful. So that's the thing about Atlanta. A lot of people talk about the traffic and everything, but in my experience, the traffic in Atlanta, it just depends on where you live. Like, when I was living downtown, yes, the traffic was horrible, because most of my shopping I was doing in Buckhead or near Perimeter Mall, Dunwoody. So yeah, going all the way out there and then coming all the way back downtown and dealing with downtown traffic, yes, I was always in traffic when I lived there. But now that I live more so in the Buckhead area, I will say, yeah, Buckhead, or that area in general, does have traffic. But now that I live in that area, to be honest, like, everything for me is only about 10-15 minutes away from me at the most. So with the traffic thing, that just depends on where you live. Now let's get into the nightlife slash how it's like going out in Atlanta. So going out in Atlanta is pretty fun. I have a lot of fun going out, but I only like going out in Atlanta if I have a section. Like, that's the thing in Atlanta, you have to have money to go out in order to have fun, in my opinion. Me, when I go out, I like to be comfortable. Now, I know some of y'all might be going out on some other type of time, but me, I like to be comfortable. And being comfortable requires a lot of money when going out in Atlanta. So first off, let's start off with parking. Honestly, parking depends. I've seen some nights, and it depends on the nights. There's events going on. For example, All-Star Weekend, which is my birthday weekend, they charged me $100 to park at the club. And to be honest, I took it because I wanted to park close. I didn't want to be far, and it was cold. And I was like, whatever. And it's my birthday, so we're gonna pay $100 to park. That's expensive, but I guess in Atlanta that's normal, but everywhere else that's definitely expensive. Uber can get expensive as well. So Uber during the pregame hours, like from 8 to midnight, it's fine. It's normally about $13 to get to wherever you need to go, like in that range, in the teens. But literally after hours, like around 2, 3, like when you need Uber to get home, basically, they charge so much. Like, them surge prices are insane. And I know it's everywhere, not just here, but I'm just saying, it's insane. I know I needed an Uber one night to get around the corner, literally. I went to a strip club, and after the strip club, I needed to go home. And the Uber was not even, like, when it shows the distance, my house is only about a mile away from where we were, and the Uber was $60-something. I was like, are you serious? And normally I always order an Uber X just because I want something a little bit more upper scale than just a regular Uber. So if you're someone who wants to be an Uber driver or a Lyft driver here, that would be a really good job or side hustle here in Atlanta, just because people are always calling Ubers. I remember New Year's Eve or New Year's like midnight this past year, I went to Opium on New Year's, which Opium is a really popular club. And Opium, it was really fun, this, that, and the third. But after the night ended, everyone was trying to get an Uber. Literally, Uber and Lyft, like all of like those apps were down. Like, no one could get a ride anywhere. So it's very important to know people here in Atlanta, because I feel like if I didn't know just anybody in Atlanta, I would have been stranded. So off the Uber topic, I do like having a section when I go out in Atlanta. Like, having a section is just like the law. If you don't have a section, I'm not gonna go out with you. Because the thing is, in Atlanta, first of all, they charge you a fee, like at the door, club fee, to even get into the club. If you have a section, it's a little bit different because you'll usually get a wristband for the section and you can just walk in for free. But if you don't, normally you have to pay $20 at the door or more. Like, they even charge women at the door. I mean, sometimes, like, I've definitely been able to finesse my way in for sure. But it just be those times sometimes when, like, you can't finesse and you just have to pay. Which I'm cool with paying, but I don't want to do that, especially if I'm paying and then I'm gonna walk in and I don't have a section or nowhere to sit. If you don't have a section in Atlanta, then you're pretty much not gonna have anywhere to sit. A lot of these clubs be packed out. Like, oh my God. I remember when I went to Opium on All-Star Weekend, which, mind you, yeah, it was All-Star Weekend, but to be honest, it's like this every weekend. But even the VIP sections at Opium were like so packed. Like, I'm like, y'all need to put a limit on how many people can be in these sections or how many people receive a band. Like, it's ridiculous. And this is the VIP. Imagine if you didn't have a section. Like, you're literally just gonna be standing, like, packed. And also, when you don't have a section, I just feel like personally it's harder to even get like drinks and stuff at the bar, because people take all the seats that are at the bar to begin with and like they hog the seats the whole night, which, I mean, I understand, like, I probably would do the same thing, but damn, like, it's hard. I do really like going to the strip clubs. The strip clubs are pretty fun, because I know Atlanta is known for the strip clubs. Definitely go to one. Also, the thing about going out in Atlanta that I like is there's a lot of after-hour spots in Atlanta. Like, so the big clubs, yeah, they'll close at 3. If you still want to go out, then there's a whole bunch of after-hour places that are like always popping, this, that, and the third. And usually the after-hour places, like, it's no such thing. I mean, yeah, they have sections of the after-hour places, but most of the time it's just people vibing and stuff, so you don't really need a section. It's just the main places you need a section at. But I will say, after a while of me going out in Atlanta, I definitely started to see the same party promoters, this, that, and the third. Like, I follow some of them on Instagram. I mean, they're cool, whatever, but you see the same people eventually, especially if you go to the same establishments. But definitely be careful with using your debit card or credit card at clubs. I remember my friends and I, we went to this one club like 2 years ago, and she had used her card to buy a drink, and the drink was only supposed to cost $10, right? Well, she checked her bank account, and apparently the club charged her like almost $100 for that drink. And when she went back to, you know, get her refund, they were not trying to give her a refund. They were like, disputed with your bank, blah, blah, blah. And my friend was so mad. But yeah, be careful when it comes to that. So another thing that I learned while living in Atlanta is, you know, I guess growing up or just hearing music and all this and that, like, you think Lenox Mall and like Phipps Plaza, like the only 2 places, only 2 malls that Atlanta has to offer. To be honest, like, now that I've lived in Atlanta and been to some of these malls, I mean, Lenox, first of all, Lenox, I don't like Lenox because half the time when you go there, it's just so many people in Lenox for no reason. Like, literally, like, they just walk around just to walk around. There's a lot of people in Lenox doing like BS. The best times to go to Lenox would be weekdays early in the morning. Weekends, Lenox is so packed. Parking is crazy. People are crazy in there. It's so many like thirsty guys and stuff. Like, I'm just trying to shop. Like, stop. Like, I hate when I'm being stopped every 2 seconds. I mean, I'm grateful, whatever, but it's a time and a place. And when I look like I'm trying to shop, like, that is not the time to talk to me. And that leads into the next thing to expect when living in Atlanta. You're going to meet a lot of different people. I've met so many different people. People in the club, people in the grocery store, people at school, people at the gas station. You meet people everywhere. Not everyone's gonna be your friend. Not everyone has your best interest in heart. Now, but you will meet some good people in Atlanta that will become your lifelong friends. And I know I've met a few people that I do genuinely care about, that I would consider a really good friend. But it takes time to build those type of relationships. Like, you're not gonna find those people off the rip. Don't limit yourself in Atlanta. I did have to put myself out there, but you gotta be careful because a lot of people are cat. Like, I swear, or a lot of people say things like they lie. Like, for example, so I remember I went to this Georgia State party, and this guy came up to me, and he was a Georgia State student, so nothing crazy, whatever. But he came up to me, and I didn't even get his name or anything. All of a sudden, he just started saying, "Oh, I'm the head person over Georgia State's football team, blah, blah, blah." Like, he was the head, like, basically Georgia State's best player. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay, cool. And I was like, I don't even know your name. And then, like, he was saying, oh, I know this NBA player. I know this person, he plays for the Lakers. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but, like, what do you do? Like, what's your name? Like, what are your interests and stuff? So, meeting people in Atlanta, like, people in Atlanta love to say that they know a famous person, or, you know, they're close to this person who's really famous for this and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, so Atlanta is definitely a city that's built on status. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of started playing Keeping Up with the Joneses a little bit. Like, I wanted to start a hair business, I wanted to do this, that, and the third. But to be honest, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm not a business owner. In Atlanta, you definitely do feel pressured to speed up your road to success, when really not. You need to slow down, but you just need to go at your own pace. Atlanta is very easy to start comparing yourself to other people. Another thing that I've learned in Atlanta, which I feel like you can implement in any city, to be honest, but you definitely just need to be careful and be more aware of your surroundings. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm still trying to learn how to be more aware of my surroundings, because a lot of stuff has been happening. Alright, you guys, so that completes this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me talking about my experiences in Atlanta, lessons that I learned, and kind of what to expect if you were to move here to this city. And mind you, I was 20 when I moved here. So this is my experience starting from 20 up until my age now, 24. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!